Hi folks, welcome back to Desert Adventures in Arizona. We're camping out here in the Oregon Pipe Cactus National Monument, and we've met a lot of nice people during the 4 days that we've been out here. We met this one couple named Robere and Jacqueline, and I'd like to introduce you to them. Hi Robere, how you doing?
I'm very relaxed. I'm enjoying the sunshine, and hopefully the wind will die down and we'll get a little more hiking in here.
All right, thanks for talking with me today. Met you the other day when we were walking around socializing with our neighbors, and notice you have a beautiful rig here, one of the nicest Airstreams I've seen. Can you tell me how you ended up with the Airstream?
Well, the big motivation was my bride. She's always been quite inspired by this product. Prior to this, we had a casita, a 17-foot plastic or fiberglass trailer. We had that for about 7 years. We've had this is our 6th season with this. And where we had 17 feet with that rig, this is 23. A little more comfortable, small enough to get into the national parks. And we just love it. It's a great experience for 2 people. We have traveled with 2 small dogs in the past, and now our challenge with that part of it is just behind us until we decide we don't want to travel much.
And you like the Airstream? Is this the first one you've had?
This is our first Airstream.
Okay.
It'll probably be our only Airstream. It fills every need that we have. The best part is my wife has plenty of room for all her great creative cuisine.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to have a little bigger refrigerator, but I think there isn't an RVer out here that doesn't want a bigger refrigerator.
Sure. And what year is this? What
This
model?
is a 2015.
2015.
Yeah.
Very nice. And how long have you been RVing and camping?
We started in 2010, and we've been coming down to the Southwest. We're both a native of the West Coast, mostly the Pacific Northwest. I was born and raised in Oregon. We have camped all over Washington and Oregon, but having been involved with all things Pacific Northwest, I always had a fascination, as my wife has, with the Southwest. And as soon as we started adventuring down here, we were introduced to Edward Abbey and another author by the name of Craig Childs, and any number of great writers that just pulled us right in. We're both history buffs, we're both jazz fans, and there's not a lot of jazz down here, so we entertain ourselves by educating ourselves to all the history of the Native Americans and the petroglyph slides.
A lot of history down here.
There surely is, yeah.
A lot of history, yeah. And you've been coming down here for a number of years, down here to...
Yeah, we've been to Oregon Pipe. I think this is our 11th year, 10th year, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we have favorite sites here. Of course, this year is a challenge with COVID, and they have half of the campground closed off. I think they're trying to, of course, control the obvious. But yeah, this is probably our favorite place to come to for a lot of reasons. We're people that are more prone to go boondocking than to an RV park. We do like national parks, not so interested in state parks. There are exceptions, of course, but I would say Oregon Pipe is probably our favorite. There are some inconveniences here for some folks, and of course there are tent campers here, and there's Class A campers here, and I haven't met an unfriendly person yet. Maybe that'll happen sometime.
Right. Now down here, there's no electric plug-in,
Right.
so you don't have electricity. You have to run off your batteries. Water spigots, so you have to haul water if you need to refill your rig.
Right.
And no dump except for one shared sewer dump, which we all share, usually when we leave or when we're coming in. So
Right.
Typically, how long do you stay?
We have stayed 2 years. We stayed 3 weeks at a time. That meant we had to pick up tow the trailer over and do a dump. But a couple of years ago, we came down. It was really warm. My suggestion to anybody that was interested in this particular location is to focus on January, February, and March. Much later, you're going to get too much heat. But February is absolutely ideal. And if you get some rain, you're going to get a ton of wildflowers. People are always surprised that there are wildflowers out here, but all you have to do is get out and walk around and keep your eyes on the ground. You're going to see them everywhere.
Yeah, we were up in the hills and we saw some ocotillo up there that's starting to leaf out and bloom. So spring is coming, isn't it? Sure is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the place to start.
Yeah. All right. So you tow your rig with a pickup truck, and that works real well for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
The trailer, the design of it is a lot lighter for its length than most rigs. Ours is a gross weight of 6,000, but I doubt that we even get close to that. We typically carry 39 gallons full tank of water, so yeah, it's working out quite well.
That's good. And of course your black tank and gray tanks and all that come with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that the biggest advantage of being in Arizona is solar, in my view. We used to do the generator approach, but found that carrying gas and the noise aspect, we're not avid birders, but we enjoy looking at birds and wildlife, and if you have a lot of noise, you're not going to see those guys.
Now in this campground there are restricted areas where you're not allowed to run a generator, and this row that we're on right now is restricted. You can't have generators on this row, right?
That's exactly right.
And I think there's 2 rows in this campground that are restricted from having generators, and the remaining rows you can only run a generator in the morning for 2 hours or in the evening for 2 hours. So that makes this campground very unique, doesn't it, as far as that goes?
Right. I think there's nearly 200 campsites, and I think 20 plus are tent sites, and I think the remainder, probably 30 to 40%, I haven't really looked at it, is probably for solar, and like you say, they keep the generator folks isolated from us, and most of the generator folks are very respectful. The camp hosts, they're very helpful in reminding people that it's now time to be a little quieter, and that works out quite well.
Now, what changes have you seen? You've been coming down here for 11 years. What changes have you seen as far as improvements to this park over those 11 years?
It's kind of basically the same.
Is it?
As far as over the last 2 years, they've resurfaced the campground roads. This year, the showers, the solar showers that are normally available are not available. I think they are feeling that there might be an opportunity there to transmit the COVID, which is that's up for questions.
So solar showers, so that's water warmed by the sun.
Right.
And that was provided inside the restrooms, is that right?
Right. Every other restroom has a shower, and the key with those restrooms is to come at the right time of day. If you come too late, your other campers might get that hot water, or it might be a little bit too hot for you. Although they have made some improvements. Some of the showers used to have higher pressure nozzles, and there were some complaints, and they have addressed that problem. One of the things about this campground that I find is attractive to us is the opportunity for hikes. And of course, because we're in Arizona and it can get warm in the afternoon, my suggestion was always to do those hikes in the AM. And it's just a delightful place to hike.
Very good. Jacqueline, would you agree with that?
I would. One
right.
thing I would like to add, of course, is so important, and that is if you're going to be here in this desert, you need to be always used to having plenty of water around. And if you go for a hike, should at least have a quart of water with you, minimum, because you're going to just evaporate all the moisture.
Yeah, it's very dry here, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, especially much drier than, well, Oregon, there are some dry areas up there. You guys are from Central Oregon?
Yeah, Bend, Oregon.
Is that a fairly dry area?
It's a high desert.
High desert?
We're at 3,600 feet, and I think this is actually a lower elevation than in Bend. We can't really compare Central Oregon with this, because this is what we call a green desert, and it's so unique. And I'm always surprised at how few people know of Oregon Pipe Cactus National Monument.
Right.
I've talked to numerous RVers as we travel Arizona, Utah, Nevada, California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho. They just don't know of it, and I always try to encourage them to hop down here, because they're missing out. They really are.
Yeah. Now it is close to the border. It's close to the Mexican border, so we're what, 4 to 5 miles from the Mexican border as the crow flies. Now there is a fence down there that they built, and there is plenty of Border Patrol that patrol the area down here. In fact, we saw one today out on the main road. And then of course there's people that work for the monument that are at the visitor center and that are cruising through all the time. So have you felt safe during the 11 years? Have you had any issues?
I feel it's safer here than anywhere I've been, honestly. I mean, I grew up in Portland, Oregon. I raised my family in Seattle metropolitan area. And, you know, it's just incredible how safe you feel. I mean, whether the Border Patrol was as prevalent as I know they are, I still would feel safe. It's just, I can't imagine people not wanting to be here because they felt they were unsafe. It's just over the top nice. I wanted to talk momentarily about, I mentioned that there are a lot of tent campers in all the way up to Class A, and I would have to suggest this. In my experience, or our experience here at Oregon Pipe Cactus National Monument, everyone is very, very friendly, very connected. It's like a community. We've met numerous people down here that we've kept in touch with over the years, that everybody's helping one another out. We had some tire problems once, and a gentleman came over and not only helped me with the equipment I needed, he even changed my tire. And I thought, you know, this is what RVing is about. And so those folks out there, and we've met some folks that just dropped down here from Phoenix or Tucson or something that have never really been true RVers. And they soon, if they start talking with some of us that have been coming down here a lot, they soon realize that this is a community you want to embrace.
Right. And so we're seeing a lot of new RVers out here now, aren't we?
Yes.
And so it's important for us to help them as they need help, to guide them if they need some guidance on how to do things, and do it in a respectful manner so that we can all enjoy this beautiful place.
Yes, and it's always interesting at how well respected it is by the fellow campers. You know, people don't dump their gray water on the ground. There's hardly, if I ever see litter, it's probably gotten away from someone accidentally. You know,
Right.
it's just incredible. And another aspect of this is the wildlife. There are a lot of birds at certain times of the year, and some people are worried about reptiles like snakes and such like that. I've only seen one rattlesnake in here, and it was taken care of by the local people. It wasn't really a danger to anyone. There are some rodents, but there's rodents everywhere, whether in the city or in the desert.
Right. And so some people are concerned about the rattlesnakes, and whether, if they come camping down here, if they encounter one, what would you recommend if somebody did see a rattlesnake outside their camper?
First thing you do is you get a hold of the camp host, and there's camp hosts at designated sites. You just walk over to their campsite. They're always one of them on duty, and you let them know, and they have radios, and they can call the folks that run the park, and they come out right away because they don't want anybody hurt, and they capture the snake and they take it away into the desert. But again, in the 10 years or more that we've been coming down here, we've only seen one.
Really?
And it wasn't a danger to anyone.
That's good. Good to know. Good to know. You have solar that you keep your batteries charged with.
Right. It's
Yeah.
120 watts, and we've never had a power problem here ever. Good old sunshine keeps that going.
And so it just runs up front to your battery bank up front,
Right.
and then keeps it charged. What type of batteries are you using?
We're just using the RV slash marine
Batteries? Yeah,
yeah.
deep cycle.
deep cycle. I know
cycle.
some people are going to the AGMs and others, but I've never seen a need for that. Even with being up in the Northwest where we don't have a lot of sunshine, we just never have had that problem.
Yeah.
One other thing I mentioned too, that I mentioned the green desert and how unique it is. There are so many very special plants down here, and pretty soon you become a local because you learn how to pronounce them. They all have very interesting spellings, and you have to make sure you don't sound like you're some yokel from Bend, Oregon.
Yeah. So like the difference between Saguaro and Saguaro.
Saguaro
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Ocotillo.
Ocotillo. Yeah.
Yeah, all of those unique Spanish flavors.
Sure. And that's usually how us locals are able to tell new folks is their pronunciation of the local desert plant life. And, we might chuckle, but we'll correct you respectfully and
invite you for dinner, maybe.
and maybe, invite you for a drink or a bite to eat. So
That's another thing that happens here, not so much this year because of the virus. Most of us are down here because we already have our COVID vaccinations. As my wife and I had ours many weeks before we started down here. But usually in the evening here, you have made acquaintances with a number of people, and all of a sudden you're having a happy hour at one of the sites or another, and it's just delightful.
Yeah, it
We
is.
have probably a deeper sense of community in a very short time than you have in most neighborhoods.
Sure. Yeah, I've lived in neighborhoods where neighbors don't talk to each other. They'll wave at each other and they don't talk to each other, but we certainly talk to each other down here, and that's a very nice atmosphere. So, all right, anything else you'd like to share with
I just say, everybody, get off the sofa. Even if you can't come down here in an RV or rent an RV, I'd suggest get a spot, fly into Tucson, stay in a hotel, motel, grab a rental car and come down here for the day. You'll never regret it. It's just an incredible experience.
Very good. All right, thank you very much for your time, and
Thank you.
enjoy your stay down here. Any last words, Jacqueline?
Adios.
Adios. All right, take care. Thank you very much for watching.